Flame of the Redmanes is one of the best Ashes of War in the game, but FromSoft saw its power and nerfed it into the ground. Still, in the depths of my Elden Ring runs, there was one that used the busted blaze before it was nerfed, from the ancient era of about a month ago. On my quest to find the most fun character in Elden Ring, I took a run through the game as Zuko and tried to restore the honor of Flame of the Redmanes. To watch these runs live, follow me on Twitch, join my Patreon if you want to give me money, and to start the video, let's light this sucker. We'll start off as a warrior for 2 curved swords right away. It's a bit gross that we're in the water tribe drip, so let's get that off as soon as possible, and cowabunga. Standard early stuff. Crafting kit. Get a horse from Mai, a whetstone knife for Ashes of War, and rescue the boulder from his hole. We'll actually fight the Tibia Mariner for once, just to grab a free casting focus from the Beast Clergyman that I didn't end up getting. So it's just an easy free boss. Even though we have no HP investment at this point, the Tibia Mariner is easy. Firebenders are surprisingly good at beating waterbenders. After that, we stop by the Third Church of America, then tiptoe into Caelid for the Flame of the Redmanes. One last ride, partner. Imagine Prince Zuko in Fort Height. There we'll get a #1 victory royale against the Fort Knight for the Bloody Slash Ash of War and the first half of the Dectus Medallion. Then we'll make our way back into Lernia and the Stillwater Cave. First attempt I got poisoned, so we just run back and start over. Second time we also got poisoned, but it was right before the boss, so I just went in. Let's give it a shot. Flame of the Redmanes is great, but we got hit too many times and took an L. Next time we come back and it goes much smoother. We even get a critical hit to end it. Our reward is the Winged Sword Insignia, boosting our damage as a combo grows. Pretty great when you're power stancing. We're actually in this cave to grab the Sage's set, an early red robe, and one we don't have to farm from the Fire Monks. If I can avoid farming, I'm going to. I'm a city boy. On our way to the Raya Lucaria Crystal Cave, we can grab a few smithing stones. There technically are enough on the lake to get a weapon of +12, but I figured out it's faster to just grab the bell bearing. So we're only grabbing them if they're on the way. At the bottom of the cave, we fight the Crystallion. All you have to do is break its stance once, then every hit will make it flinch. Super easy. We load the sword up, we've put the Redmanes on to move forward. To get the smithing stone bell bearing 2, we have to go to Altus. That means we need the second piece of the Dectus Medallion, so cowabunga into the Dragon Barrel, then scurry through Fort Pharos to grab the Dectus Medallion half, and a golden rune and Radigan Source Seal on the way out. I even used Flame of the Redmanes to stun lock the rats so I can escape safely. It works great in so many places, or at least it used to. Then we can ride up the Dectus Lift and grab the smithing stone bell bearing 2 to level our sword up to +10. Before we get all the big runes, let's go get something for more runes. Why be a prince if you're not going to be rich? I grabbed my pickle, then we head for the abandoned cave and take on 2 clean rot knights at once. While we struggled against the first one, leveling up our sword has made this a cakewalk. Or at least, the first one of these 2 is a cakewalk. We ran out of magic fighting the second, but that's fine. We still have swords. Beating them will give us the golden scarab to boost our rune acquisition by 20%, but that's not rich enough. For that, we have to kill a little bald boy. Zuko hates little bald boys. Nerd Juice is blocking Patches. We don't struggle too much against him. We struggle even less against Patches. It's easy, just 2 flames and then some slashing. And we get the gold pickled fowl foot recipe for around a 60% boost when paired with the scarabs. Now we can really level up our boy by killing the easy dragon just for the 40 vigor runes. Then we'll go to the putrid avatar in Caelid since it's weak to fire, just red mana twice, and crit for the flame shroud and cracked tier. That's 20% more fire damage. That'll make the next putrid avatar in Grail much easier. Well, not easier since it has more health and hits harder, but I've got the rhythm so we don't take any damage and get a butt ton of runes. Now we're really cooking. Margit first so we can get another pocket. We summon Sokka, he's got a magic sword, it's just kind of mean. Flame of the Redmanes used to break stances super fast, so we have plenty of time to attack him while he can't even move. Brilliant. We actually take our second death running through the danger path of Stormveil. Apparently these airbenders are mad at us. What did we ever do to them? Twice. I don't even bother summoning Nefeli for Godric. I just head in there and start cooking. Couple of Redmane flames, we slash him up, he airbends. Is this the avatar? Maybe our honor will be back sooner than I thought. Phase 2, we Redmane but run out of magic, so we have to slash him. Embarrassing. Still an easy win. Let's speed run a UA kill. First, we take out Smaragd outside, breaking its stance before it even finishes its first roar. With all due respect to the first firebenders, we disrespect the first firebenders. Into Raya Lucaria, avoid a few wizards, then go after the Red Wolf of Radagon. It's pretty speedy, so the Redmanes don't work all that well. Oh well, dogs are famously weak to swords. We get abducted by a virgin on the way to Renala, but that's fine. Moongrim goes down pretty fast, then it's UA time. We don't one cycle phase 1, which is a little annoying. She flies all over the place in phase 2, jumping over our Redmanes, which is even more annoying. I ended things by getting greedy and just trying for a stance break after she summoned the giant. I was in there for 4 minutes, just running around desperately trying to get a hit off. Pardon the greed. Before fighting Sozin's Comet, I wanted a couple more talismans. Gilka takes less than 30 seconds for the Ritual Sword Talisman, boosting our damage at full health by 10%. Godfroy is like Godric without a second phase, so it's easier. I guess you can't bring a Spirit Ash with you, but we didn't have one yet anyway. Just burn him down, then combo up. And a brief detour to the Weeping Peninsula for some Sacred Tears. 1, 2, 3. Now let's fight a Comet. With the Boulder, a Furry, and Katara, we summon all of our pals and apply the stance pressure. While getting around to the front of Radahn's head is hard to do to actually land the crit, since he stands up pretty fast. Stunning him lets your party unload a full combo. We even get a second one before phase 2 starts, then a quick one in phase 2 for the win. I'm really gonna miss this Ash of War. With Radahn dead, we have nothing stopping us from going to Ba Sing Se, though I do want to pop into the Fringe Folk hero's grave super quick. Avoid the chariot and fight a Ghost Knight, who also has firebending and airbending. Is this another avatar? That'll give us the Dragon Communion Seal, which we'll use for most of the game. Actually, all of the game. We're not really casting that many spells, since at the time of this recording, Flame of the Redmanes was better than any fire spell. Check it out against Grail. Once again, no disrespect to the first firebenders, but eat shit first firebenders. That'll give us a nice bounty of runes, then we can head back to Redmane Castle for the Red Hot Wet Blade, which will let us make a flame art weapon rather than a fire weapon. It's the same thing basically, it's extra fire damage, it just scales with faith instead of strength. Now, let's head to the city. Some jackass taught their horse how to firebend, but it doesn't resist fire all that heavily, only 40%. It's kind of a lot, but Flame of the Redmanes used to stun them pretty fast. We ran out of magic and had to finish it with our swords. It was pretty close at one point, but we clutched it out, and we were able to head into Ba Sing Se. We burned down a tree on the way in, then grabbed the Ritual Shield Talisman for more defense at full health before fighting the Boomy Ghost. Why do we have to fight a ghost before we kill him? Not sure. But the ghost's goose gets cooked by 3 flames, and I build up a combo to build up our damage. It takes a minute, but no longer. Then we can move on. Morgoth the Swamp Bender is upstairs. I summon mine, and despite that increasing Morgoth's stance resistance, it still only takes 4 flames to stun him. Then we build a combo up and phase 2 begins. We almost died to the stab and grab, but we were able to heal up and get the win. Only 2 deaths so far. That's really good this far in. Now we can scurry through the Forbidden Lands and right up to the Mountaintops of the Giants. The Smithing Stone Bell-bearing tree will let us level the swords up even more. We can kill a beetle on a tree for a Somber Stone 7 and fight the duplicating Erdtree Avatar. It's 2 avatars for the price of 1. Couldn't be better. Just doubles the hitbox. That means the flame hits twice. Niall couldn't be worse. He's at the top of Castle Sol, which is a long run back. There's no Stake of Marika outside. Sure, there's a shortcut, but even the shortcut takes 2 minutes to run back, and we will be running back. Since we have no help, we have to line him up with his 2 soldiers and hit them all with the Redmane Flame at the same time. Then dodge his big jump attacks and get some flames off, but he recovers so quickly we're gonna take hits. Rolling away is a bad idea. He's gonna catch it with his incredibly long spear. I actually found it was safer to just chug directly in his face, but only after 3 deaths. Attempt number 4, we put it all together to grab the first piece of the Haligtree Medallion, then picked up the other piece from an old man in Lernia. Let's go get an old man of our own and save our uncle from jail. In the hidden path to the Haligtree, we find a hidden path. Oh, that's why they call it that. There's a dude who wants to fight us on an invisible floor. Why? But we live. Then we fight the Stray Mimic Tier, which is just like the other Mimic Tier, but this one was nominated for Game of the Year. Sorry, Stray, Elden Ring is Game of the Year. We win and get Spirit Ashes for Uncle Iroh, Black Flame Monk Amon. That rescue mission went a little faster than I anticipated, so let's also level him up to +10 in this section. It's time for the Katara quest. We have to run up Caria Manor and beat Loretta. She's a mid-game boss. Compared to Niall, pretty free. We say hi to our future wife. That's after Aang and Mai die. I wrote a whole fanfic about it. Then enter Radahn's big hole. It's another Mimic Tier. Why do we have to fight so many clones? Down into the Night's Sacred Ground, we get the Glovewort 10, then into the Ainsel River main where we grab the Glovewort Bell Bearing from Phalanx Demon's Holes, grab the 8 and 9, and warp back to the Round Table Hold to level up Uncle Iroh. Oh, actually I forgot to kill Ensha. Bye-bye Ensha. Now Iroh is +10. Let's get even more OP. What? The power to burn down Vaatu lies in the consecrated snowfield. First, we fight Anastasia and her big old butcher's knife to get an ancient somber dragon smithing stone. Then up the mountain for another putrid avatar and another huge load of runes. More importantly though, the spiked cracked deer for 20% more damage on a combo, pairing with our winged sword insignia to hit ridiculous levels of oomph. I baited the worm to fight an octopus, but it didn't really work the first time. We even got 2 octopuses fighting him. Didn't work. But it just hits too hard. And I have less practice since I stopped climbing the ruin-strewn precipice in these runs. It was close to dying though. We come back and, I guess it died. Free runes. Neat. Now we need to interrupt this redemption arc for a bit of a backslide. Commander O'Neill in Caelid is like Nile, but easier and with rot instead of frostbite. He has more soldiers, but they deal less damage and have less health, so it's pretty easy to just clear them out, then focus on the big boy. Gowry wants to heal up a sick lady, we can bring the medicine to her, then she's in the shack, then she's in Altus. It's a lot of dialogue. Let's get to some action and invade the shaded castle. Wow, another clean rot night? How original. We grab the prosthesis for Millicent, then meet up with her in the Moonlight Village to fight Moon Knight in Avatar, I guess. Between Zuko, Millicent, and Iroh, he doesn't really stand a chance. Lasts less than a minute. Still pretty heroic, but then we killed Millicent. Whoops. She gives us the Millicent prosthesis, which stacks with our other combo boosts for an absurd amount of damage after we get going. Final piece of the puzzle is a spell to cast with our seal. We've been investing in faith all this time for something, right? In the Guardian's Garrison, we can climb up a ladder, over a banister, avoid an NPC, climb another ladder, what a thrill, and grab the Giant's Prayer Book. With that, we can learn Flame Fall Upon Them, which should make the Elden Beast easy once we get there. But to get to the Elden Beast, we have to burn down everything. Everything! Big Ozai is blocking the Giant's kiln, and he heavily resists fire damage. So instead, we use combo power. It's actually why we did all those errands early. Normally, I would save Nile until we had a maxed out weapon, but with 50% fire resistance and a ton of health, Fire Giant could be tricky. In Phase 2, we avoid the Flame Breath a few times. It's not too bad. You might notice I'm still using Flame of the Redmanes. The stance damage still works, and when it can't attack, we can get a big combo going. We get one last stance break, but we don't have a pickle. Bummer. Let's burn down the Erd Tree to cheer up. Godskin Duo are also a bummer. They kill us for the 7th time since I was silly and tried to fight Chunky first. Next time I was smart and went for the String Beam. Then we were able to fight the large lad 3-on-1. I can even hang out on a pillar to avoid the rollout and hit it with a few Redmane flames. We avoid a Black Flame Tornado, then finish off the last Chunky for a second try victory. They give us the last bell bearing we need so we can cap off one sword really fast. For the other one we have to kill the Beast Clergyman. I guess he does give us something useful after all. The bird run doesn't actually end up being that bad on the way to Malekith, nor does the Draconic 3 Sentinel. Just use the Flame Bonk technique, it's super effective. I thought I'd maybe try out our new spell on Malekith, so I went to grab the Sombra Stone 8 and 9 from the Dragon Barrel before heading in. Malekith's stance breaks at the end of Phase 1, which is actually a little unfortunate since stance pressure would carry over to Phase 2. Doesn't really matter, we still get another stance break anyway, and then Iroh absolutely melts him for standing still. Iroh doesn't mess around. Back to the Ashen Capital, everything is covered in ash. Who could have done this? Maybe Gideon knows. He is the all-knowing after all. Even though he doesn't have boss posture, I was still using Flame of the Redmanes. Don't really know why. Swords would have been better. It'll be better against Boomy. Godfrey's AI dodges towards you when you cast something. Normally that puts the spell you cast behind him, and he gets to smack the shit out of you with an Earthquake. But with Flame of the Redmanes, he blasts right through it and takes the stance damage. So Phase 1 is easy. Phase 2 isn't all that bad either. We break his stance early, do some damage, and then he wants to start Phase 2.5 with some giant slams that are also very slow. That's just enough time to break the stance again and get the easy win. Only one boss left. If this run seems fast, it's because it's fast. If the Elden Beast goes well, this could be our best build yet. Godric's Great Rune acquired. Let's go kill God. Radagon has no fire resistance, and the best way to beat him is to just break his stance so fast that he has less time to beat the shit out of you. He can deflect attacks, even Iroh's attacks, then throw them at me. That's kind of rough, but we're rougher for him. When he goes for the Hammer Slammer, we're able to get a bunch of damage off, and it brings us into Phase 2, where I have a strategy I've been building for this whole run. Part 1 is a stance break with Flame of the Redmanes. Who could have seen that coming? Following that, I get a big combo with my Scimitars to amplify my damage. That amplified damage applies to spells, and Flame Fall Upon Them throws out multiple balls of fire, all of which get boosted for massive damage. It's at really low health before it even uses its first rings, but I miscalculated since it did the rings on Iroh instead of me. That puts us in a bad position across the map while it's summoning Elden Stars, then it does the triple rings, all while I desperately try to find a place to deal some damage. Eventually, the very edge of our spell hits it, and we beat the Elden Beast at 5 hours and 9 minutes of in-game time with only 7 deaths. That's our first time below 10, and 34 bosses dead. This is the #1 build across all categories. It's the fastest bosses, the longest deaths, and the most bosses per death. Flame of the Redmanes was a huge part of that, and the nerf is no doubt going to make this worse in the future. Maybe one day I'll come back to it, but personally, I kind of like the idea that our #1 build is something I couldn't build again. Just means I'm gonna have to play better to restore my honor in the future. To watch these runs live, follow me on Twitch. We're playing Elden Ring every week. Join the Patreon if you want to give me money, and follow my other channel if you like Dungeons and Dragons. I build a lot of characters over there too.